Good afternoon. Welcome to Factotum Life. It has been 1 year since I have installed our two Honeywell Home T5 programmable thermostats with no Wi-Fi. I wanted to do a 1 year update, how these thermostats have performed over the course of the last year. I am happy to report that we have had zero issues. Now, the way that we use our thermostats, it controls our boiler. It's a very simple system. It has two wires that are connecting to it. It just turns the boiler on and off as needed. During the weekday when we're gone, the thermostat operates on a schedule. One of the nice features with this thermostat is that it has a recovery algorithm. And this recovery algorithm has learned how long it takes our equipment to heat up the room. But beyond that, we really haven't had any issues to report. What I'm going to do here is we're just going to talk briefly about this thermostat. And one of the things that I want to play with, or I want to see here, is what other options we have on the back side. Okay, so what we have here is we'll call this the customer facing or the user display. Turn the heat on. We've got it on hold until 6 p.m. and we can go into our menu, we can run our schedule, we can do a screen lock. The response is the recovery algorithm that I was discussing earlier, which is on. We got a clock, date, clean screen, which will lock it, then allow whoever to clean the screen without it doing all sorts of nasty things. And we got a factory reset here, or a reset, equipment status, so we're, stage 1 heat done, device info. And as you can see there, our model is RTH8560D 1002. All right, so not a whole lot you can control on this. And in my previous video, the first video where I installed it, one of the items that I pointed out, the reason why I liked this was that it was basic, it was simple. So one of the things here that I want to do is we're going to kind of follow up with this video. And let's say I want to remove it. What we're going to do here is we're just going to lift up the bottom and then it just pulls out. And as you can see on the back, we have our batteries. We have nothing too exciting. This is the base station for it, and we just pull that back. And as you can see here, I have two wires, and we have a white wire and a red wire. And that's all I have hooked up. I'm going to brush on this real quick here, kind of going back to my first video. I didn't show this, and I mentioned in the comment section, I did that on purpose, and my original thinking at the time was that we kind of went through the general theory of what I was doing, why I was installing it. But when it comes to connecting the wires, everyone's system could potentially be different. And my system has a boiler only. We have the air conditioning that is controlled by this unit right here because it's a mini split system. So because we have a boiler, we have two wires, it's very simple. And it's a white and a red, and the white is connected to the white and the red is connected to the red. And as I mentioned in the comment section, if your equipment is currently working correctly, you haven't had any problems, and you're simply just upgrading a thermostat or replacing it, it's safe to assume that you can document the color wires that you have on your old thermostat and just transfer it over to the new one. Now, by going with that method, you're assuming that the previous person has hooked it up correctly. The 100% method to installing a new thermostat would be to go downstairs or wherever your HVAC equipment is and verify where these wires are connected. Now, on my boiler, it's an older system, so I can see very clearly where the wires are connected. On a lot of newer systems, they might use a logic board where you have to open something up, maybe a cover of some kind, and go in and see and verify that the red wire is actually connected to the R terminal or the white wire is connected to the white terminal. or the green wires connect to the green wire, the yellow, that sort of thing. Once you have verified the wiring colors on your actual equipment, then you can come up to wherever the thermostat is and be 100% confident that these wire colors are being matched up to the same spot. One of the reasons why I wanted to make this video today, I want to see if I have the ability to control temperature thresholds. And it always seems to me that the equipment's short cycling. I would like to have the ability to maybe run the temperature thresholds a little higher. So let's say we have the temp set at 69 or 61. It would bring the temperature up to 61. Maybe it'd bring it up to 62. But then the threshold for that temperature to kick on would actually be lower. It would be, closer to 1 degree, maybe 2 degrees. I don't mind so much a swinging room temperature. I can deal with 1 to 2 degrees. In this situation, I want to see if I have the ability to do that. It doesn't really look like there is anything in this equipment or in this programming that would allow me to do such a thing. However, I do know there's an advanced setup on this. And when I went online and I Googled, I was given some misleading info from Honeywell. And so what we're going to actually do here is I'm going to show you on this specific model how to do it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to press mode in this blank portion of the screen. All right, there we go. Now we're into device setup. So we could edit this. This is we'll call it a banker schedule, Monday through Friday and a Saturday through Sunday. And that's how I operate this. I usually let the heat stay essentially on hold during the weekend. And then on Monday through Friday, I drop the temp down when we're not here. So we're going to go to the next one here, and we have temperature scale, Fahrenheit, Celsius. Okay, that's saved. That's not anything that we need. All right, our next is the type of equipment. And we've got hot water, steam. All right, this is for our boiler. So our boiler system is not a steam system. We use a hot water. Hot water circulates. All right, we've got heat stages. Max heat, no, let's go back here. Boiler system. So we got a boiler, cool only, conventional, heat pump. We do have a heat pump right here technically. However, that would entail me to install some additional hardware into it so that it can communicate with this. So we're not going to do that. That's why I keep two different systems, two different thermostats. But all right, so boiler is all we have. I've already mentioned it's a hot water system. Cooling stages. 1, 2. Okay, we're going to cancel that because we don't have cooling heat stages. Edit. We only have one heating stage. Done. Heat 1 CPH. Now that is interesting. I don't know what that exactly means. Cycle per hour. All right, so this is what I'm thinking. Okay, so I think this is the setting that I'm actually looking for here. Right now, what it was set to was CPH, which is cycle per hour. And we have it set to 3. So if we divide 3 by 60, that means that every 20 minutes. So instead of 3 here, because what I'm going to do here is we're going to drop it down to 2. And I'm going to see if anyone in the family notices the house or the temperature fluctuations have occurred. I guess I could drop it down to 1. And what that would essentially would do is it would run a certain threshold and then bring it up to temp, and then after that probably won't run. I don't know if that would, that might be more noticeable. All right, you know what? I've changed my mind. I'm going to do this. We're going to go to the extreme. I was on a cycle threshold of 3. We're going to drop it down to a 1. So this will only operate, the heating cycle will only operate 1 time per hour. I guess my logic behind this is that every time the boiler ignites on and tries to warm up or do whatever it needs to do, there is a period of inefficiency, especially if the thing's cycling quite a bit. Okay, so what I've done here, I've set our heat cycle per hour threshold at 1. This will hopefully allow the boiler to operate a little bit longer because it's satisfied its operation and it won't run for another hour is my understanding. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to set this. We're going to see if anyone in the house complains, my kids, my wife, maybe me. Usually I'm the one that's complaining about temperature swings and being hot or too cold. So we'll be done with it. We've got smart response, which is on. So we want that. Max heat temperature, 90. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to worry about that. Idle brightness. Let's see what that's about. Do done. 12-hour clock. No, we don't need that. Daylight savings time is on. And we're finished. All right, so we've set up our advanced settings and I've changed our cycle threshold for the thermostat regarding how long we need our equipment to, or how many times our equipment needs to operate. This thermostat doesn't allow us to play with the temperature variability. So essentially that is whatever algorithm or whatever control the thermostat manufacturer has made, that's set. But as a user, I do have control over how many times that thermostat is allowed to operate the heat in a given hour. It was set at 3, and I've now set it back to 1 hour. And I'm curious on how this will play out as far as comfort level goes. Time will tell. I may end up having to move it to a 2, but we'll find out. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. We have a wide variety of content. And if you haven't already done so, check out our first video regarding the installation of this thermostat. Thank you for watching.